The Mexico Open is this week. We're going to see a slightly different field than you saw at the TGL and the Genesis over the weekend, Nick. We're here to break it down. This is a tournament that has a lot of lesser named guys. We could see a lot of different outcomes here. If you're a long shot better, Nick, I think this is your week. We're going to break down the course. We're going to break down total strokes gained. We'll give you some outright winners, some top tens. We'll go over some players that can trip you up and some DraftKings Darlings. We're going to get into that. But first, guys, hit the like button. Leave us a comment in the comment section. Tell us who you're liking this week in this crazy, bizarre tournament. But I got to ask you, Nick, we were talking a little bit before. TGL, you said you watched the second match at least. I feel like they've hit their stride. I think they finally found what they are, where the excitement is. Yesterday was an absolute home run for them. What's your take on where TGL is right now?
I mean, I think it's great for what I don't know is where the reach is for the non-golf fan, right? But I think it's a great branch to get into it because I don't think anybody's watching the Mexico Open if you don't like golf at all. But maybe you tuned in last night. You know, the fact that it's Monday and Tuesday and they're not competing against anything is brilliant. Gives us golf nerds something to watch. Geez, you add it all up. It's like 6 days a week. There's something you can kind of check out and watch. So I love it. We're going to have to start doing a full show dedicated to TGL, but then right as soon as we get going, the season will end. But whatever, it'll keep going around year round. But I think it's great for us. I love that we can instantly on all the sports books we can bet it. I haven't really dabbled in there yet because I don't. You know, it's hard to handicap something brand new, but probably gonna get my toe wet sooner rather than later. I don't know if you've messed around in there at all, Andy.
No, I really haven't. I've kind of paper traded some things, and it's just so close. Okay. Like it really is that close. I will say the guys have figured out you can go pin hunting on these greens. You may get a skip off the first like one or two bounces, but the ball dies pretty quick. And I think you're going to see a lot more hole outs because they were really, really aggressive. Because you could see if they missed, the ball would really come to a stop past the hole. So, and those are the highlights. Those are your social media clips. Those are what what they show on, ESPN and, Fox Sports, and that's what's on TikTok and everything. So Keegan chipping out, that's in there, Tommy Fleetwood even getting Tommy Fleetwood got a hole in one in practice.
Off the rock. Off the rock.
Yeah.
It was on SportsCenter's top
10. So yeah, it breeds itself to really good highlights. I mean, even Kevin Kisner sculling one out of the bunker off the flag.
That's right.
So yeah, I thought yesterday was an absolute home run. That was the biggest day for them. So they're coming right along here. All right, let's talk about the Mexico Open here. We'll go over this course. Vidanta, it's just a wide open course. This does favor the Bombers. The fairways are big. They're flat. You can swing for the fences. The rough is not that penalizing. We saw last week with the bad weather in the first couple rounds, if you sprayed the ball and missed it in the rough, you had a tough second shot. This is not the case. There's quite a few water hazards that are in play. Weather looks to be absolutely perfect this week, a little bit warm. I would expect the scores to be pretty low. There are two par fives that are 600 yards, and there's several 500-yard par fours. So distance is just going to be pretty important here. It's a little bit of a different setup with a par 71, 5 par threes, 9 par fours. But in the end, easy course to hit fairways and greens. Nick, long off the tee, hot putter, anybody in this field could get the win. I'm expecting the winning score. These guys are good, man. I think one of them's get to minus 20. I sat here last week and I said, with this bad weather at Torrey Pines, they'll be lucky to get to even, and then they're minus 8. After the first like few rounds.
Right.
And stuff. I keep forgetting how good these guys really, really are. That being said, Akshay Bhatia is your betting favorite. Højgaard, Patrick Rogers, Kurt Kitayama rounding out the top 5 with, this is how you know it's a rough field. Sam Stevens has been my DraftKings darling. He's a top 5 favorite for this week. Yeah. Any takeaways on this course? I think it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, you nailed it. It's a resort course, right? So it was always designed to be easy for the masses. So wide fairways, pretty easy off the tee. They did, interestingly, last year allow the rough to grow a little higher. It used to be played in April. Now it's played in February. So locally, the rough can grow a little bit higher, but it's 2.5 inches. Like last week at Torrey, we're talking 4 inches. So a little different. What I've noticed, well, let me just go back to the field. You already kind of hit on it, but yeah, only 3 of the top 50 the official world golf rankings are here. And unless you're a golf nut like myself or Andy, Akshay Bhatia, Aaron Rai, and Rasmus Højgaard are those three names. You may or may not even have heard of those, but those are your big three as far as official world golf rankings goes. One thing that I found pretty interesting on this course, Andy, I definitely haven't seen this before. So last year, this course had the second hardest par 4 of the entire season. Hole number 10, it averaged 4.44 as strokes on average. And that was the second hardest par 4 in all of golf the entire season last year, which the year before it ranked at fourth hardest. So it's not anything new. On that same token, hole number 7 is a par 4 and averaged 3.34. And this is now the 4th year of this event. So in all first 3 years, that ranked as the easiest par 4 on tour. So you basically have the hardest and the easiest par 4 on tour, statistically speaking, in a 4-hole stretch on this golf course. So you're probably going to walk away even par between the 2 holes, right? But it's pretty interesting. I've never seen something like that before. It's literally over a stroke difference between those 2 holes, which is kind of wild. Last thing I'll say is I just like to talk a little bit about the trends and what I'm seeing so far this year. Small sample, obviously, we're only 7 tournaments in, but we'll get to the strokes gain graphic shortly. But you always know I put the banner up top about how it's produced in usually the bigger events. So we've had 7 events this year, 3 signature events. All 3 winners of the signature events have ranked in the top 10 in strokes gained, and with an average an average odds of 18-1. All right, this being a regular event, this is now the 5th one. So the first 4, the average stroke gain graphic, if I was going to go further, they sat at number 37 in total strokes gained over the last 12 months instead of 3.7 as the average of the other events. And the odds on average, 91-1. So yes, you are right. This is probably setting up to be a anybody's chance type of a field. So get your dartboard out, throw a few out there, keep them small, but you've probably got to have to sprinkle around a little bit to really get a chance this week.
It's a great segue. I always do my favorite hole in the 18th hole rating. My favorite hole is the 7th hole, the drivable par 5. Like you said, yep. I love it. Yeah. It's not that difficult. The only thing is there's water on one side, bunkers on the other, but the bunkers aren't that difficult to get out of. So it's pretty easy to just avoid the water. If you do get it even remotely near the green or in the bunkers, up and downs are pretty easy. And like Nick said, you walk off with a par, that's you're given, 3/4 of a stroke back to the field. So I do love drivable par 4s. I love that you could just steal an easy stroke, and it's always fun watching guys walk off holes mad that they got a par. So I love that element of it. The 18th hole rating, this is a pretty weak finishing hole here, but it's a resort course. What are you gonna do? It's par 5. It's like 550 yards, easily reachable, and 2 if your drive is even remotely decent. Green has a few small bunkers on it, but it's not challenging. It doesn't set up for that much drama. If you like easy holes to close out a tournament, this is for you. Like there could be a guy shooting for an eagle, like a good drive and a good second shot could give you a makeable eagle putt from far outside. But listen, this is kind of a birdie hole. This hole is lacking. Final rating is only 3.6. I'm not too excited about this 18th hole. But hey, if you're looking for birdies and potential eagles on the last hole, this is for you. I want a challenging 18th hole. I want to see the leaders sweat a little bit and have to hit some really good shots off the tee and coming into the green. Nick, let's take a look at this graphic. It's going to look a little bit different. Let's take a look at total strokes gained for the last 12 months, 6 months, and 3 months. Yeah, a lot of names that we've not seen very much. So walk us through this list. What are we going to take away from this?
Yeah, listen, I got to stick with tradition. At least put this graphic up here. Last week, I was very confident in saying the winner was probably coming from that graphic. Ludwig did that for us. Not so confident this week, but this is the top 10 guys strokes gained over the last 12 months. It's funny when you do this, you make these graphics yourself like I do. And if you're familiar with Excel at all, last week, Scotty Scheffler led the field at over 3. And then I think even the bottom of the list was over 1.5, right? So as I plug these numbers in, the formatting that was on here, everybody was red. I'm like, I guess I got to change my parameters here. Otherwise, it just looks like hell. But maybe I should have left it there to give you an idea. But this is it. Akshay Bhatia, as you already mentioned, is leading the pack here. And this is definitely kind of the type of event you'd expect him to play well in. And then he's proven that he can win these type of events. And the names just go on. It's all the household names you'd expect, Andy. Ben Griffin, of course, CT Pan, everybody's got a poster of him on their wall. And Matteo Manassero, who was a big thing in golf 10, 12 years ago, disappeared, and is kind of working his way back a little bit over the last 2 seasons. So, but you can see the official world golf rankings there. Also, you got guys well over in the hundreds at this point. So rare to see on this graphic, but this is it. I did include a couple guys in the bottom, as you can see, that weren't in the top 10, but have been playing much better recently. Michael Kim, most notably, there at the bottom, coming up in the top 5 overall, I believe, over the last 3 months, playing very, very well. So it's hard to really get an idea if length of time, being 12 months, is going to, the longer period of time the guys have been more consistent is going to help you this week, or if it's more just a short term, came up and playing well the last 3 weeks, capitalized on a week event, and took home the, well, I guess it's not a green jacket, but whatever they win here. But this is your top 10. It's hard to get behind a guy like Akshay Bhatia, even though he is probably the best in the field at 14-1. Oh, God, I feel like this. I'm not so sure. But that's it, Andy. I don't have much else to add here. I doubt. I'd definitely bet against this one being the winner in this graphic.
Yeah, absolutely. There's just a lot of high profile things going on this week in golf, and credit to golf. Took advantage with, NHL not having a bunch of games, NBA being off, and golf put out a pretty good show. They got their young and up and coming star Ludwig, who had a great couple days.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a great showing at TGL. He got the win in a high profile event. So golf did themselves a lot of favors here. It's $5 Tuesday up at WagerTalk.com if you're watching this on Tuesday. Nick, go ahead and tell everyone what you have up. I know you got some specials, and I know we got the Mexico Open this week. Of course, we got soccer coming in. So tell everyone what we can find at your profile page at WagerTalk.com.
Yeah, well, the biggest part of this week is the MLS season begins this upcoming weekend. 6 straight winning seasons for myself, Andy, going for 7 in a row, and full season package available right now, $249. That runs basically through December. First week of December is when the MLS Cup final is. So it's a long season, a lot of plays. It's been a great package for myself and clients over the years. Hope to continue that. And then, you mentioned Soccer Champions League is what's going on right now. I do have a $5 play up Tuesday if you get there in time. But if not, UEFA, which is Champions Europa League, plus Premier League, rest of season, $149, and that goes through May 31st. Number 1 soccer handicap over the last 9 months, up over 40 units. So hoping to finish the season out strong, as well as kick off the MLS season strong. So good action for myself going on right now with soccer really hitting its gear.
There aren't a whole lot of things that I say in this industry are must buys, but Nick's MLS falls into that category. What is it? 6 years in a row?
Thanks, Andy. Yeah, 6 years in a row, going for 7. Yep.
I mean, yeah, that's something that you need to add to your portfolio if you're not taking advantage of that. Like, absolutely 100% for sure. So, all right, well, let's go to some players that can trip you up this week. Nick, this is it's a landmine. There's a lot of players that can trip you up. I feel like picking Akshay Bhatia is low hanging fruit, like picking the favorite in this field. But I will go to Rasmus Højgaard. This guy terrifies me. He has not played here before, and last week's course that should have set up decent for him. He was long off the tee. He's been pretty accurate this year, and he was awful. One of the worst players in the field. He missed the cut in a short field. It barely had a cut, and somehow this guy missed it. Maybe the weather did him in. There's not going to be the bad weather this week, but he doesn't have a top 10 finish this year. He's priced as a top 2 player this week. I will easily pass on Rasmus Højgaard after what I watched from him the first couple rounds. And next, I'm going to pass on Kurt Kitayama this week. He's 38th in this field in total strokes gained this year, and he's priced as a top 5 golfer this week. No, thank you. Best finish is 37th this season, and he does have a runner-up finish at this tournament, but it was back in 2022. I don't take it too much into account. There's just a lot of guys that are going to be up and down this week and this year, and Kurt Kitayama has just not shown very much consistency, hasn't shown very much upside, so I think he's priced way too high. And listen, I get it. With the books, they got to price somebody in the top 5, but it doesn't mean that we have to bet them. So Rasmus Højgaard and Kurt Kitayama. And Nick, I only have 2 players this week. That's how kind of rough this field is. I couldn't get to a third, so I'm just going to stick to a couple guys that I would say avoid in this one. So, all right, let's take a look at a guy not to avoid this week. Who's a guy that you are looking to bet on this week, Nick?
Your text when you texted me and said, how do I differentiate between a DraftKings Darling and a player that can trip you up this week was right on the money for you, Andy. It was well said. So I'm trying to pick one of the favorites each week, and that could be the first 10, 15 kind of on the odds board and a long shot. And the favorite this week that I like is Patrick Rogers. I actually don't like that he finished solo third last week at the Genesis after sleeping on the 54-hole lead. I mean, it proves that he's playing well, and I like that he's playing well, obviously, but I don't like the short-term memory effect that happens often in golf. And of course, I think his odds have been drastically affected this week. I think he'd be in the 30 to 35 to 1 range if he didn't have that finish last week. So we lost some value on him, but he's clearly playing very well. He was somebody I had circled for this event, regardless of what he did last week anyway. And that's based on the fact that he's finished in the top 10 in all 3 editions of this tournament. Eventually that's going to end. And probably as I talk about it now, it'll be this year. But obviously the course history is very, very good here. He's coming in a decent form too. And the only concern I really have is that he's kind of pulling a Sung Jae Im right now. This is his 7th straight start. So at some point, he's probably going to fade if he doesn't, take a week off. But I'm banking on the momentum from last week carrying over here in a field that, last week brings him confidence. And then you're coming to a course where you play very well and the competition is weak. That confidence should carry over for him. And at least he's going to come in believing. Yeah, it gets off to a rough start. I guess it is what it is. But I like his chances this week to be in the mix. 22 to 1 is not that honestly sexy of a number for an outright play in this field. But like you said, somebody's got to be one of the favorites. And I think of that group of 10 or 15 guys, he's probably the one I would circle. And you can back that up with top 10 plus 260 or top 20 plus 125, both decent options as well. So Patrick Rogers, I think we'll have a good week this week.
Love it. Avon, Indiana's own Patrick Rogers.
Oh,
went to
nice.
high school about 30 minutes away from where I live. So always nice to see him playing well there. So let's go to DraftKings Darlings. Like we said, this entire field is a DraftKings Darlings. I do want to point out, Nick, this is 2 banger weeks in a row for us on DraftKings Darlings. Last week, I entered this lineup that we talked about on the show in a tournament of 75 people. We finished 22nd. Our lowest 2 priced guys were Denny McCarthy and Nick Taylor. They were the 2 best finishers.
Not bad.
It shows the power of, if you nail your DraftKings Darlings, you're going to be setting yourself up really, really good. This is kind of a pretty important segment to find some of these guys that are way underpriced. So let's take a look at some of these guys here, and I will start with Sam Ryder at 7,400. Hasn't played here before, but he's playing well coming in this week with 4 made cuts. Nothing worse than a 43rd. He's 8th in the field, total strokes gained. So I really like his form coming in here at 7,400. We'll go to Eric Van Rooyen at 7,500. Listen, he's been bad this season. Not very good. But man, does he love playing here. 8th last year and 33rd the year before. Maybe seeing a course that he's played well at gives him a lot more confidence than what he's shown this year. It's a weak field. So he doesn't have a bunch of big names ahead of him. So 7,500, I'll roll the dice on some good course form on this one. And then I'll go to Grayson Sigg at 8,000. He's made 3 out of 4 cuts this season. His course history is what really intrigues me. 19th, 18th, and 33rd the last 3 years here. He's worth this price. Last week, I went kind of a little bit of stars and scrubs because we had the short field. This week, you're going to find a lot of guys kind of in that middle tier range. I'm not going to spend big on any guys up at the top like Bhatia or Kitayama or any of those guys. So I've got a digital download free article up on my page at WagerTalk. It's got the entire lineup in there. Again, we've had 2 incredible weeks in a row with DraftKings lineup. So I encourage everyone to go grab that as well. And all plays can be found at wt.buzz/AL, as well as this article. We've got a lot of specials that are going on. If you're watching this on Tuesday, it is $5 Tuesday. All handicappers have a play up for $5. We have ours in darts this week. We're put up a $5 play for night 3 of the Premier League of Darts. We've cashed in on all our plays on the first 2 nights. So 2 profitable nights in a row in the Premier League. And you're not limited to just one. So if you want to grab one $5 play and then get another one and another one and another one, go for it. Absolutely. So we've also got a 30-day pass. This is an instant discount down to $8 per day. This is a great time to grab a special like this for someone like myself that specializes in a lot of sports. We're up 39 units in the last 30 days. So just the last 30 days, we're averaging over a unit profit per day. You can take advantage of sports like tennis, darts, golf, some of these plays, some of these sports that nobody's betting on. This is where we like to take advantage. And once NBA starts up, we're coming in off of a 10-1 run right before All-Star break. So a lot of great specials that are going on there for the 30-day splash. We got a 7-day special as well, where you get 3 days free added on there. Go check out the deals page at wagertalk.com. All right, Nick, let's talk about another guy you're interested in betting on. Who's a name we should keep our eye on?
Yeah, so this is my worthy long shot of the week, and that is on Justin Lauer. He's 75-1 this weekend. He top 10 plus 650, top 20 plus 280, all markets to throw some money on him. Unlike Rogers, Lauer is rested. He last played 3 weeks ago at Pebble Beach, finished tied for 62nd. Obviously not a great result, but signature event, much different field, much different course. These types of plays for me and really in this field are just all about potential. You're never going to find a guy that's, wow, top 10 and 12 out of his last 13 starts. It's just not going to happen in this field. But I think his potential really kind of is where I'm zoning in on. In fact, if you look just over his last 7 starts, he does have 3 top 5 finishes. Yeah, he has a couple miscuts and some poor finishes, but the fact that he has 3 top 5s in his last 7 starts just proves he can have a week and he can get yourself in contention. And they're kind of similar events, or similar fields rather, to this. As one of them was the American Express just a few weeks ago. Then in the fall swing or fall series, he had the Bermuda Championship and the Worldwide Technology Championship. Also, small field or weaker fields, both top 5 results, very strong. I like the idea that the win for him is probably coming sooner rather than later. He's also played in this event in 2 of 3 editions. He made the cut both years. His tie for 64th finish in 2022, not that great, but tied for 3rd last year. So licking my chops a little bit to converge those trends of he's got some great top 5s recently. He had a great result here last year. 75-1, I think, is well worth it. I expected him. If you look at some of the other guys, anywhere with these type of results, they're in the 30-1 range. So 75-1, that number's probably going to come down if it hasn't quite already, but I think it's well worth your money. Lauer this week to have a good week.
Love it. There's a nice little long shot for you. Before we get going, I had to bring this up, Nick. So I watched a lot of Live and I watched TGL. PGA Tour needs to be really, really careful. They're the 3rd best TV product, and they're a distant 3rd. Live has nailed their production. They've got it down. Their TV product is really good. Now, they made a massive boo-boo by having their event on an hour delay. Did you know they did that?
I did see that, yes.
That needs to be fixed in a hurry, because I'm looking at the scoreboard and the scoreboard is 5 holes ahead of what you're watching. But if you're just watching, it's not even close to Live is better than PGA Tour, and then you watch TGL and it's just night and day different. I think PGA Tour is they got to do something drastic, and this is an organization that never does anything drastic. This is an organization that really doesn't do anything. Unless your biggest names leave the sport to go somewhere else. I don't know what your thoughts are on just watching some of these products, but PGA Tour, they're not even the same ballpark with the quality and the entertainment value. Yeah,
it's just appealing to a different audience, which is what golf in general is starting to do and has done over the last 5 to 10 years, especially with like the upbrings of Top Golf and things like that. But you got to go to a younger audience. Golf is, for years never replacing the people that were aging out. So that's what Live is doing. I mean, under the lights, music playing while you're out there, they're embracing the idea of it's, the kind of like the bro, the hangout, the fun. This is just that kind of lifestyle, versus PGA is very professional, and golf, you're very reserved and very whatever. And that's cool too. But I think it's just adding a little bit, maybe don't change exactly everything and go full in, but adding a little bit. And I think they're trying to do that. They're starting to do the on-course interviews, but let's be honest, who wants to talk to the reporter down the middle of the 16th fairway on a Sunday when you're really in contention? You ain't got time for that, right? But give them time. I think they're going to have to adapt. They already are. They're trying to talk about it. Just we haven't seen it a lot. TGL, at least that's the same people and the same board of players. They're going to piggyback off that success, I think, quicker than they were thinking, LIV's figured it out. I think that will help them more than anything.
Yeah, I look at tournaments like the Mexico Open. This is the week to experiment with a bunch of things. Sure. These are the tournaments that you mic up as many guys as possible and try and just go crazy with it. Like you said, like an elevated event where the winner gets $4 million. Yeah, that guy's not that interested in putting an earpiece in
Sure.
and talking to you. But I don't know. I feel like these are the events you could try just do something crazy and spice it up. There's not many people watching it, but try something and get in the headlines. But it's PGA. I will continue to most likely be disappointed with their lack of innovation on it. Their graphics have gotten better. I will say that their graphics and their shot tracking, kind of those have been pretty cool. But all right, guys, that's going to do it for us. Hit the like button, leave us a comment, tell us who you're liking this week. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Tons of great preview videos. Just this week alone, I'm going to be putting out a darts preview video, a UFC preview video. And of course, you've got golf, but we got a lot of college basketball breakdown videos as well. And don't forget to check out WagerTalk today every Monday through Friday at noon. In fact, Nick Borman will be making an appearance this week on WagerTalk today. I'll be on Tuesday through Friday like normal. Good luck on your plays, everyone. All plays can be found at wagertalk.com. We'll see everyone next week.